Hi, this is Linda Willow Roberts with another episode of How to Manifest. And I'm really excited to speak to Rebecca Tichbon. She's a qualified medical scientist. She's in the health and science teaching in university. She's from Bunbury, WA. She has Tichbon that she does belly dancing and aroma dancing, and she's also got welcoming women. She's about to publish her first book, Essential Oils for Emotional Management. Please welcome Rebecca. Hi, Rebecca. How are you?
Hi, thanks for having me here today.
Oh, you're very, very welcome. So I'm excited to talk to you. For starters, you're in Bunbury, WA, so that's wonderful. I'm in Tasmania. So, it doesn't matter where we are in the world, we can still communicate with each other. So I love that. Now, tell me what we're talking about. I'm talking to spiritual leaders and businesswomen around the world and men around the world about, what challenges they had, what they did to get out of them, and how to manifest. So for my first question, Rebecca, what are the challenges that you faced early on in life?
I guess my early life was quite lovely. I grew up in a lovely suburb in the hills of Perth, capital city, and had a lovely childhood with a brother and a sister, and that was beautiful. And then my challenges sort of arose in my teenage years when I went through some rebelling, as many teenage girls do.
Yeah.
And I ended up pregnant at 16 years of age.
Yeah.
But it was kind of a kick in the pants that I needed to get out of that self-indulgence that teenagers often have. And it was actually the inspiration for me to then go on and study medical science at university, get my degree. Obviously, there was lots of challenges there with getting through university as a young mum, as a young single mum. But then when I graduated, I was offered the position down here in Bunbury at the local hospital, because graduate positions are difficult to come by. So I thought, if I go regionally, I can get some experience and move back to the big city, and then fell in love with Bunbury and just never left, because it's such a beautiful spot of the world.
That's wonderful.
Yes. So then my business journey sort of started in the late 2016 was when I started my businesses, and that was following on from a really challenging period in my life. I go into it a lot in my new book that's coming out later this year. But I went through a really intense period of loss, tragedy, loss of income. Had 6 children, and ultimately one of them, my youngest one, passed away. Oh, and came out of that period, from being a quite a confident, strong, resilient woman to someone suddenly suffering from grief, anxiety, anger, guilt, all those emotions that can come out of coming through that sort of period in your life. And fortunately, I had long service leave owing to me, so I took that opportunity to take some time out while still being financially supported. And that was when I just rediscovered aromatherapy. And interestingly, I guess with my background, I'm a medical scientist, and aromatherapy, a lot of people consider that on the woo-woo end of the spectrum. But it really fascinated me, the biochemistry of the oils. And there's a lot more research coming out about how these oils can be used across different disciplines in medical science. So, that inspired me to learn more and supported me through that emotional journey. That's what I share about in the book.
Yeah, wonderful. So let's go back, and I'm really sorry for your loss, and we will talk about that, but I want to go back at the beginning. So you had a child when you were 16 and you went to university. Did you have a good support system around you? Were they able to help you with childcare and those sorts of things?
I was very, very fortunate to have a very supportive family.
Yeah.
There were people who, when they found out about the pregnancy, they were like, oh, that's it. Her life's over. Everything's, all those good grades she had at school had gone down the drain. And I kind of wanted to just turn around and, blow raspberries at most people and go, this is not going to stop me.
Yeah.
And if anything, that drove me even harder to do that. And my parents and my brother and my sister were super supportive. Helped me a little bit with childcare, as well as using the services around me. And the university was also very supportive. Let me kind of choose which time slots I might want to do that might make it easier for me to attend classes and things like that.
Yeah. Well, that's great, isn't it? So it really helps, doesn't it, when you have that support around you at a young age. So how old were you when you finished university?
I was, how old was I? 24. Yeah. So still fairly young. And so my daughter was 2 when I started university, and then 6, nearly 7 when I was finishing. So that's was a beautiful process. And hopefully, I think now she recently graduated from uni herself, so she's now a nurse.
Yeah.
And I was the first in my family to achieve a university qualification.
That's wonderful.
So I think I was able to pave the way a little bit there. Yeah,
I can relate to that. I don't have a university degree, but my daughter is the first in my family, and we have quite a big family. She has her Bachelor of Education and her Master's, and so I'm just so proud of her doing that. But I think your parents growing up, so did they encourage you to be whatever you want to be? Were they that nurturing that they let you be yourself?
Yes, I think I was born with a great deal of self-confidence, whatever stars I was born under at the time.
What are you?
I am my sun sign is Capricorn with Sag rising and a moon sign of Gemini. So some interesting stuff going on there. Mars and Saturn play big roles. So at the moment, I'm really feeling their impact. So I think, that's influenced me. And certainly they were always very supportive in helping me reach those goals that I wanted.
Yeah.
I think, though, they also instilled in me a bit of a problem with my money mindset, in that, they didn't have those qualifications and they did struggle with money. And so they really pushed me and my siblings to study hard, to get that really great job so that we would, always have a good income. And that's something that I have struggled with later in life, in that, yes, I did achieve that. But, I stuck around in jobs when I wasn't happy, because I felt like, you don't leave a job unless you've got something good to go to.
Yeah. Well, that's what I do. I help people with manifesting, and when I'm 55 now, so in my 20s, I went through my family conditioning, and their thinking around money. And in my mum and dad, they were farmers, so we were brought up thinking that we were battlers, and money doesn't grow on tree. I'm the youngest of 7, so and I can totally relate to that.
Yes, and so that was something that I struggled with when I started out in business. Do I want to put myself out there? And you kind of need a bit of money behind you to get a business started. So, spending money to make money, some of those it was really challenging to push through those mindset challenges.
Yeah. So, how many children did you have?
So my eldest daughter is now 26.
Yeah.
And then I have a 17-year-old son who is a plumbing apprentice.
Yes.
And my youngest is a 6-year-old son who's year 1 in primary school. And I also have 2 stepchildren from my second marriage. So I've got a 21-year-old daughter studying psychology and a 13-year-old son as well. So a beautiful blended family. And it's interesting how the girls have all gone down that health pathway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're a mum. You are a teacher at university. You have 2 businesses. So you really manifest. So you really manifest well. So time management help you. You must what puts you and a teacher, like I know the analytical mind. So when did spirit or when did the spiritual world or different modalities start coming into your awareness?
Definitely after that loss and that tragic period that I went through. So it was a friend who gave me a bottle of essential oils after the funeral of my daughter, and just was like a grief support blend, and she said, here's something beautiful for you. And it was at a time when most people were at a loss as to how to give me help or how to support me, and I did lose a lot of friends during that period just because they simply didn't know what to do and how to handle the situation. And that bottle I still carry around with me. I mean, obviously, I've topped it up a few times now. And I just found that really beautiful. And that's what inspired me then to one day I'll go, what is this stuff? What is it? How is it working for me? Because as a medical scientist, you want to investigate this sort of stuff when it's helping you support it. And I learned about, the biochemistry and that more health applied way of using the oils, but I also learnt about the spiritual side of it and the energetic side of the oils.
Yes.
And through becoming an aromatherapist and what I do in my women's group, I got to know a lot of other wellness practitioners. I've got a huge network, and at the moment we're on Thursday. Tickets will go out for my very first wellness retreat, and I'm running that along with 10 other wellness practitioners. So, it's been a beautiful journey and learning about all their different methodologies, different modalities. I guess for me, my experience after my loss, I went to the GP and said, I'm struggling a bit at this point in time. And, you get a 6-minute consult with the GP. And he basically said, which one of these antidepressants would you like? And I was like, I'm not depressed. I don't have a clinical condition. I am going through a natural, normal experience with regards to what I had been through. Grief is a normal thing to go through, and something that all of us will experience at some time. And I didn't feel that I needed medication to get through that. I was looking for other ways to support myself. And that's when I reached out, and I was seeing a kinesiologist fairly regularly, and I found that very supportive, as well as the aromatherapy stuff that I was doing to support myself.
Yeah. There's no, and I'm really sorry for your loss. There is no time frame, and everybody's grief is certainly unique to them. And hats off to you, because you're keeping going and you're making the world around you a better place. So what are some of the steps? If somebody that was going through a grieving process now, what's some of the steps that you recognise that you went through?
Well, there's a lovely graph that shows the grief cycle, going through, there's denial and anger and that real low point, and then you sort of start to come through to acceptance and moving through to the other side. And I think for me, my experience was grief is something that it will never leave me. It's but it's something that you learn to handle and work through. And what I suggest to people is to actually experience that emotion and not stuff it down and try and hide it. Grief can hit you at times when really unexpected. There's been times when I have been enjoying a shopping experience and suddenly a song that was played at my daughter's funeral will come on the speakers in the shopping centre, and then woof, that grief just comes like a big tidal wave.
Yeah.
And I've been walking down a street and seen someone that reminds me of my stepfather who passed away. And again, just that unexpected times when the grief can come up. Yeah. And what I found was by using my essential oils combined with some mindfulness techniques, a way of processing that emotion so that you experience it, but it doesn't have to then impact on the rest of your day necessarily. You can experience it and let it flow, and that's what I talk about more about in the book as well.
Yeah, it is really tough, and it comes up when you least expect it. Like I travel around the world any other year but this year, and my mum and dad have passed, and we put their ashes in the water. So wherever I go in the world, I make sure I put my foot in the water because I feel like we're connected all over the world, even though I'm a medium and I know that they're there anyway. But it's the little things that you remember. So what particular oil did you use to help you with your grieving process?
So I had a blend, and it had a few different floral essences in it. So rose, of course, is beautiful for the heart and supporting the heart as that goes through. Rosemary, that's something that we use in our funeral rituals. In the Western world, we'll often put rosemary on coffins and at funerals and have it around, but it is another beautiful supportive oil. Something quite floral because that supports the feminine nature and the heart as we move through that process. They're quite gentle, supportive oils. But of course, everybody that works with oils will have a different experience. So I encourage people to find the oils that resonate with them.
Yes.
Especially when regards to the emotions, and develop a unique blend.
Yeah. So after that, you started working with the oils, and is that when you started your business, Welcoming Women?
Yes. So after I became a qualified aromatherapist and people were asking me about oils and how to use them, it made sense to turn it into a business so that I could properly help people. And at the same time, I sort of, as I came out of my own emotional bubble, I began to see other women who were feeling disconnected, socially isolated. I guess these days we rely a lot on social media for connecting, and certainly this year because we haven't been able to get out and be with other people in the same room. And so, but what we share on social media is often not our authentic selves. We just show the best bits, and it can mean that when we see other people and all the best bits of their lives, we can reflect that maybe ours isn't as great, and that can have a negative effect on us, and the way that we interact with social media. Certainly locally for women, there wasn't a lot of opportunities for them to meet new women. I guess for me, most of the friends I made when I moved to Bunbury were work colleagues, and then when I had my second child, I met other parents at school. But if you didn't have those opportunities, or you didn't necessarily want to join, say, a big sporting club, there were limited opportunities for women to meet and interact. So that's when I had the idea to start my Welcoming Women group.
Yeah.
And then I also wanted a way for my other wellness practitioner friends to meet new clients and share what they do, because they were all amazing women. So I had the idea, and then I created the format that the session was going to run in, and I reached out to some of my wellness friends to say who would like to come along and be a guest speaker. And within 2 weeks, I had a guest speaker lined up for every single session for the next year.
That's
so
really
that
good.
just really, you know, talking about manifestation, that's sort of, when that happens, you realize that you're really on that right path, because if things are in flow, you know this is definitely something that the world needs.
Well, it's when it's your life purpose and you're passionate about it, spirit just opens, it's fluent, everything happens, the synchronicities, the messages. I wanted to ask you a question. I'm a spiritual teacher, and I have a lot of students and people that I'm mentoring. And I've noticed that whatever they've gone through in life and they've shifted and they've worked with, they attract that tribe because they use their wisdom and their experience and their knowledge. So when your daughter passed away and you went through the healing process and then you got into the oils, did that attract other people that were dealing with loss to you?
Interestingly, not necessarily loss, but I think people could recognize that I had been through some sort of loss, and the attraction there was more that here's someone who's been through something significant and has managed to get through the other side okay. And that's where I was attracting people who perhaps they'd got through the worst of what they were going through, but then, you know, you sort of get to a point where you might be seeing a counsellor or you might be seeing a psychologist, and it gets to the point in that sort of therapy where like they've kind of done all they can do, and what is available for you then going forward to keep that positivity and that momentum in your forward journey. And that's where what I do sort of falls into it, in that providing a space for people, in particular women, that is what I tend to work with, that that they've been through that journey and they want to still keep growing and learning and connecting, and that's the space that I create.
And in a safe space. Like the first half of my life wasn't very good. And so I tunneled my way out of it, and I've written a book and I've got my own oracle cards, and I've purged a lot because I wanted to change my life for myself and my daughter. And when you're actually talking in front of, and I'm a speaker, when you're actually talking in front of people and like yourself, and you're actually talking about your unique story and you're authentic and it's heartfelt, people feel like that they're in a safe environment. And that's what helps to propel you to meet other people and to meet like-minded people, and the doors just open for you. I think that the realer that you are in your speaking and your writing, and I think in your voice comes over, I think that helps so many more people, and spirit just brings people to you. And do you find that?
Yes, and interestingly, even in my job role at the university as a lecturer, so I help new students in that preparation to start their undergraduate courses, and so much of that is pastoral care and getting their confidence up as learners. So as much as I might be teaching them science and mathematics, part of my job role is just to get them to feel ready that they can actually achieve and succeed. And I work a lot with my students just on that.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's great. I mean, I've done workshops in outback Queensland to young mums with children, and the struggle that they had was they didn't know that they could have goals and they could do things. And you opening minds at university, and women, it doesn't matter who they are, what age, male or female, just doing that is what the universe needs, really, and what the world needs more of. And that's really great. So what are your future plans? So when you're having a really tough time, I know that you see that that you do use the oils, but if you're having a really tough day, what's your go-to other than the oils? What is your go-to thing?
I definitely like to carve out some self-care time for myself every day if I can.
Yes.
Find that really important. And that might include, just sitting and doing a meditation, whether that's a guided meditation or just me, myself, and my mind, body, and spirits. I do a lot of dancing, so I find dancing is a beautiful way for me to connect mind, body, and spirit. It's a mindful activity.
You're a belly dancer, aren't you?
Yeah, so I do belly dancing, and that's just another sisterhood thing that I love that I enjoy.
I dance around the kitchen on my own, so at least you have friends.
It's another confidence builder where women come along and they go, I can't dance, I'm the wrong shape, I've got too many wobbly bits. And I'm like, belly dance embraces those wobbly bits. Get them wobbling. We want to see it and get their confidence up. So, combining essential oils, meditation, and dance is almost a form of meditation, I suppose. I do sometimes consult oracle cards as a way of tapping into my own intuition.
Yes.
I do a lot of journaling as well to sort of get my thoughts out there. And a really simple thing is that I have goals. I might have a manifestation vision board.
Yes.
Yeah. And just connect with that every now and again. Like, I actually have this amazing piece of art that I did at the start of this year, and I did one last year as well that worked so amazing that I had to do it again this year. And it's a big mandala with a tree sort of growing around it. And I created it with an artist called Dawn Meader, who's based in WA, and she leads us through a workshop where we create the mandala. So each layer of the mandala is we do a meditation, and each layer is on a different facet of the life. So, health, wealth, career, family, all of those things.
Beautiful.
So you spend the whole day creating this mandala. And last year, what I manifested from this mandala was amazing, and everything that I put into the mandala was manifested. So having this huge piece of art in my dining area where I look at it every day while I'm eating my dinner, it's an inspiration.
Wonderful. And Rebecca, we've run out of time, and that's gone so quick. I could have talked to you for hours. Rebecca, where can everybody find you? We've got a couple of minutes, so let everybody know where they can find you.
So they can easily find me on Facebook. That's my full name that I go by on there. They can look up Tichhaven, Tichhaven, or Welcoming Women on Facebook or Instagram. You can find me on LinkedIn. All my websites. There's plenty of information out there. I would love to connect with anybody who is interested in what I do.
Wonderful. And you've got a book coming out this year. And who's that published with?
I'm self-publishing under the Tichhaven business. So that should come out hopefully in early December. And I would recommend that reading for anyone who's interested in supporting themselves emotionally. And especially those those essential oil enthusiasts who have this big box of oils and they don't know how to use it. Let's get those used and really see people supporting themselves using natural methods.
Yeah. So do you have a particular brand of essential oils, just quickly before we go, that you use?
I don't in particular liaise with anyone in particular. I have used doTERRA, I have used Young Living, I've used Oil Garden. There's a beautiful company locally called Tinderbox who I try and use as well. But I tend to have favourites from each of the different companies. So the most thing is look for a quality brand and see which oils resonate.
All right, that's it for us. How to manifest, a magical manifesting conversation with Rebecca. Thank you very much for joining me. I thoroughly enjoyed talking to you, and I think that we're going to see more and more and more of you.
Thank you for the opportunity. Lovely to chat. Thanks, Lynn.